Yeah. This idea of like radical honesty, it comes from my work with patients over the years, finding that those who are able to get into recovery from the severest addictions and stay in recovery are the ones that have learned that they can't lie about anything. So not only can they not lie about, their use, they can't lie about why they're late for a meeting, what they had for breakfast, where they're going to be Saturday night. It's those trivial lies that they have to be the most careful about, because that will lead them back into the bigger lies about using. And to me, that's fascinating. I mean, what is it about this kind of embracing this concept of radical honesty and never lying that helps people with addiction? I think it works on a bunch of different levels. One of the levels that it works on is just their own insight and awareness of what they're actually doing. So part of what happens when we lie, and the average adult tells 1 to 2 lies per day, is that we're not just lying to other people, we're largely also lying to ourselves. And to talk about Freud's unconscious, we're allowing certain themes and things that we do and say and think to remain in those dark recesses of our minds. Whereas if we're articulating something, there's something very, very powerful of turning our inner life into words that we share with another human. It really makes it real in a way that it's not otherwise, and it hugely enhances our awareness of it. So that's one of the big things. The other thing is that telling the truth profoundly enhances intimacy. We're deathly afraid of people knowing our faults and weaknesses, our deep desires, our shameful desires, whatever it is. We're afraid that if we tell people, they'll, run away from us. But in fact, the opposite happens. If we really share our shame, people come to us. They want to be closer to us. It enhances trust. So it's a wonderful way of augmenting intimacy. And very often that kind of deep intimacy or connection to other human beings is the best antidote to addiction. I just saw a patient today with he has a sex addiction, and he was experiencing intense cravings. He and his wife had a bunch of things to do around the house, and he was kind of dreading doing those things. And, he's struggling in his addiction, and out of the blue came this craving to act out. That basically he was planning that after she went to bed, he would look at pornography, which is, part of his definition of relapse. And then it occurred to him, well, you know what? I'm just going to let her know what's going on for me. And he said, I just want to let you know I'm having a lot of cravings right now of wanting to act out, and I'm formulating a plan. And she responded by saying, thank you for sharing that with me. Do you want to talk about it? Is there anything that I can do to help?
That's sweet.
Well, even better, after they talked about it, and she went to bed, he had no cravings. So his cravings went away. And really what's so key there is that, really what was the craving in search of? It was in search of some intimate human connection at a point when he was feeling low. So instead of escaping to his, addiction to try to fill that feeling, he actually faced it head on, expressed his inner life and his shameful cravings to his wife, and then got intimacy from that. And that's just a wonderful example of how being truthful in the moment can really bring people together. And then the craving goes, which is really awesome.
So if I was to recapitulate, please let me know if this is correct or incorrect. When you lie, you feel as if you're manipulating and you're getting away with something, like you've achieved something positive. Otherwise, you wouldn't have lied. But what's actually happening is that you poison yourself. You've corrupted your heart, and your heart is a large aspect of you. And further, and maybe you don't know this, but my background's in math and filmmaking.
Yeah.
There's a screenwriting adage that says the more specific the pain, the more applicable it is, or the more relatable it is. And further, the more general you try to be, the less relatable it is, paradoxically. In other words, you think that you're going to repulse someone by revealing your innermost, specific, painful, personal thoughts. But what actually happens is that you endear people to you. And then further, what you've articulated is that you also get endeared to other people. So I don't know if I interpreted what you said correctly in my own inference or my own translation, but tell me what you think.
Yeah. That's, I mean, I guess I might use slightly different phrasing, but I mean, I think you're, similar themes. I think, what I touched on is just how telling the truth makes us more aware and gives us more insight into what we're actually doing.
Yeah.
Because when we don't tell the truth, we are not aware of these behaviors. They remain in our unconscious. And then we continue to lie to ourselves. So that's one of the primary ways that this radical truth telling can be helpful, is that it increases our knowledge base, right? Then it increases our perception. It increases the information that we're taking in about the world, which then enhances our models, right? So if we're going to use that active inference language, we improve our perception, we improve our models, and then we have better models going forward to interpret the world.
If you enjoyed that clip, then the full podcast is out right now. You can click around here. Enjoy. Subscribe to Theories of Everything to get notified of upcoming podcasts, as there are new full-length podcasts every week on the topics of mathematics, physics, consciousness, free will, and AI.